particularly the United States and the military contractors. And finally, I think that having a pillar of moral reputation is extremely important. Americans like to feel good about themselves. They like to travel abroad. They like to feel welcome. The United States likes to have allies, at least satellites, clients, people that they can count on for a military base here without Italians surrounding and starting to scream and rant like they are in Vicenza, where Anne just recently was. So the pillar of the moral reputation has collapsed. I think that arose first from Abu Ghraib and from torture, but it spread to a disgusting feeling of disgust at ourselves and at our institutions, so that if you consider it a necessary pillar, it's gone. It can only be recovered by the end of the war. So I think from all those dimensions, things are going well. If I may have a moment more of your time, just to re-summarize, there's a trajectory here I'm trying to urge you to remember from the first days of utter isolation to now. There have been, thanks to UFPJ, by my count, 8 demonstrations of over 100,000 people. I'm not talking about the ones where around the country there were 100,000. I'm talking about 100,000 in one place, and at least 3 of those were 300,000, 400,000, 500,000. I thought my dear and respected friend Leslie undercounted the last one. I think it was 500,000 on January 27th. She said it was 400,000, but who's counting? We just have to remember that we've done that. In my book it says there's 165 cities for peace. Somebody had to organize all that, but now, thanks to Illinois, it's about 188 cities for peace. The Gallup poll shows that Americans turned against the Iraq War as a, quote, mistake faster than they turned against the Vietnam War. You have a broader coalition. You have labor against the war. Never before has the AFL-CIO transcended its CIA entanglements abroad until this year, thanks to the work of people in this room. You have the Iraq veterans against the war forming more rapidly than the Vietnam veterans against the war. You have the Howard Dean stepping up and from nowhere, and just by saying who's talking about Iraq, he suddenly becomes a presidential candidate, and he raises $50 million. Amazing. I want to stress this $50 million because I think UFPJ needs to raise some money. You know, I do. Leslie knows that. I think that something quite interesting has happened with the independent media as a possible source of fundraising. Beyond Amy Goodman and Juan Gonzalez, I'm one of 50,000 people every morning who gets to listen to them. It's far beyond the underground press of years ago. Beyond Robert Greenwald's DVDs that have been used by the grassroots. Beyond Michael Moore. What a phenomenon. Is Michael an outsider still, or is he an insider? When we're thinking about these lines, all I know is that a majority of Americans said they were going to go see Fahrenheit 9/11. Unbelievable. I don't know if they did, but that'd be like 100 or 200 million people, would it not? He grossed $220 million. He should be funding UFPJ on the interest. Right? And, you know, God bless the Out of Iraq Caucus and Maxine Waters. There's, just like in the past, there's a stalwart group in Congress who fight the fight. And God bless Cindy Sheehan. And don't forget, when she stood up and was the Rosa Parks of this movement, that invisible, organic, but organized network out there, they organized 6,000 candlelight vigils in 3 days. So there is a movement there. But the money thing, oh no, one minute, I want to thank God for Code Pink too. I haven't totaled up the arrests. It's kind of hard to total. Code Pink told me they've had 1,000 arrests, but I can't clarify if that means Ann Wright has been arrested 1,000 times, or you know, there's got to be a head count that's a little clearer, but it's in the thousands. Right, but I want to close on the money. I hope that you will find a way to raise this money, and here's the deal. Move On alone in 2003, 2004, Move On members raised $180 million for peace candidates. Never in history has there been a peace group that raised $180,000 for candidates. I thought Diebold stole all elections. You know, I thought campaign financing is the prelude to being able to be effective at all. They just went ahead and found a way to raise money. Now, let me be clear. The group Move On, they only gave $50 million as a group. But if you look at all the members, who may include some people in this room, may not, and you compare them to all the contributors, you come up with $180 million given to peace candidates by Move On, which is a group that did not really exist before this war started, or not very much beforehand. So all these things can be done. A majority can be mobilized, candidates can be elected, candidates can be defeated, millions of dollars can be raised. There is no known limit to our potential, your potential, individually, collectively. It's a matter of imagination, and I think it comes down to, I've gone through in my life, and my life is a lesson in it. I come from a lower middle class Irish Catholic immigrant background where we were taught that nobody's going to help us, we're always going to be fucked. Things are always, whenever something good happens, something bad is going to follow immediately. And then I discovered that there were Jews like me and all of us came from this background of thinking that the man was about to crush us. And we thought that the African Americans were the lodestone of knowledge on this issue, and the Native Americans, and that we would follow that direction, continually fighting, continually being defeated. And it's a hard mentality to get over, because you know what? There's something deep and wise and true about it. But it can also become a prison of its own. It can imprison our possibilities. And without saying that now we can achieve utopia, I do think that it's time to write ourselves into history, take credit for what we've done, understand how far we have to go, but realize we're in line with the majority, start to think and act accordingly with pride that this generation will end this war, will defeat the conservatives, will defeat the neoconservatives, will defeat the humanitarian hawks, will defeat the hawkish Democrats, and will defeat the mainstream media, and will bring about a cultural norm against any further interventions like this one. And if that's not a victory, I don't know what we're looking for. Let's go do it. Thank you very much.